Alright, how's it going, guys? We are finally here to get Tantalum done. And this is what we're starting with. We have 3 mixers, an electrolyzer, an LV, and a bath. And we're going to do this with a lot of cuts in between. By the time you guys see the end result, it'll probably be 15 to 30 minutes. But it's probably going to take me a couple hours. But I want to show you guys step by step how I get through this process, and I could probably stream what all it's going to take to get this done. So, our first step is Tantalite, which we have already gotten. We got this out of our where is the centrifuge? Our Colton. When we got our Columbite, we got our Tantalite along with it. So we have plenty of this Tantalite. The next step is to run it through the electrolyzer that we run the Columbite through for niobium. I'll put a link in the thing about that. Link to the video where we did the niobium, because that works right alongside this one. So here is our Colton that we got from processing. That came straight from Colton ore that we mined. And then there is the Columbite we have left. And there is the Tantalite. So we should have equal amounts of Columbite and Tantalite, but I've already processed a little bit of both. And up here we have niobium pentoxide. This is what comes out of the Columbite, the pyrolusite that comes out of both of them, and then 21 tantalum pentoxide that we're going to be using today to make Tantalum. So, the next thing we need to do after electrolyzing, which remember this electrolyzer needs 112 EU a tick, so therefore it has to be the aluminum, which is why we ran it in this setup here. So you cannot get niobium and tantalum before aluminum. You have to set that up first. So we have our tantalum pentoxide along with the extra pyrolusite that comes with it. Now our next step is we need to put it into a mixer with hydrogen fluoride, which we have that. The problem is we need potassium fluoride to go with it, 8 of them for every 7. Now, potassium fluoride we're going to get from potassium carbonate and hydrogen fluoride. That'll give us 2 of them, water and CO2. The potassium carbonate, from what I've seen in here, you really don't have a way of getting other than potassium hydroxide and CO2 in a mixer that will give you water and your carbonate. I've looked through other ones. I really don't see a way of getting it. So this is what we need to do. And potassium hydroxide we can get if we have plain potassium. Smash up a lot of bananas? No. The main way of getting it is going to be through an electrolyzer with rock salt rather than regular salt. Up till now, we've been doing regular salt to get sodium hydroxide. Now we need potassium hydroxide. So the first step is I'm going to run some rock salt in our electrolyzer over here, which was set up for running water, and I took that out so it would run the other stuff I had in there. So let me get a pipe out of my bag here, and we will hook this back up. And go ahead and take the spare light out for right now. And let's grab some rock salt. That's iodine salt. Still trying to learn where everything is. We'll just grab a stack of them so we know we have plenty. That'll be more than enough. And get that in there. That's not the right thing. Why is that water not going in there? We should have water in here. Fluid pipe's empty. That's hooked to the distilled line. Why is that hooked to the distilled line? Why do I do some of these things? Okay, well, this is going to be the first thing I fix. So I will go and get this fixed up. We have a water line over here somewhere. I will run this in and connect that, get this processed, and I'll be back with you for the next step. See you in a few minutes. Okay, so rock salt, water, potassium hydroxide. And we have 9 of them. I'm judging by the recipe, we're going to need 12, which this will give me 12 more small piles when it gets done. If we look at this while it's finishing here, when we get to this, the 8 potassium fluoride that we need is going to give us 20 of the potassium heptafluorotantalate. And then this is going to give us back for every 10, which is half of the what we got out of there. We're going to get 4 of these back. And then that's going to be 8, which is what we need to make the next run. So as long as we have 8 of these potassium fluoride, we're good. And so that's why I'm shooting for 12 of them. Oh, I only got 6 out of there. I need to wait for one more process to get done, and then that'll give me the 12 that I'm looking at. The reason why I'm saying that I want 12 of them is because the... Where was this? This was in here. No, sorry, wrong thing. In here. So 1 potassium hydroxide turns into 1 potassium carbonate. But then the potassium carbonate, you need 3 of them to make 2. So if we need 8, we need to put in 12 to get our 8. So this just got done, gave me another 6. That will make me another 3, and that is the 12 I believe we need. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out for now. Except for that, because one other one did get started, so I want to go ahead and get that ran as well, so we have an pile in here. I also have started this electrolyzer backup because we only had 21 of the tantalum pentoxide. So there is 63. That'll be plenty to keep us busy for I do believe what we need, because if we look at that, so for every 7, we get 2 processes in here, which means we get 2 of these. So 7 equals 2. We need 12. So then 7 times 6 is 42. And we have 63. So that's more than enough to get this done. And I'm going to go ahead and let this process get done running, and then shut that one off as well. Now, unlike the niobium, the tantalum we will use a lot later. So we will end up going through a lot of this. The niobium really doesn't have another use other than the niobium crucible for the most part. Let's look up here. So if we look at niobium dust, let's actually look at combination. We can make niobium titanium, which we could use for a crucible, but that crucible is long since dead. And then we can make desh. So unless we're going to go through getting all of this stuff to make desh, which we technically can do, and I might actually do it for lighting. We don't have a whole lot of uses for niobium. Alright, so that is done. I can go ahead and shut this off. And this should now be done, which it is, but we cannot shut this off because now we need to run the sodium hydroxide through here. I need to make another one of these so I can quit having to steal it. And now we're going to throw that in there. And we're doing this because here in a few minutes, we're going to need sodium. And this is one of the easier ways of getting sodium. There is an easier way, which is if you can find a fluorite vein and process a bunch of fluorite, you have a small chance of getting sodium out of it. But since we already have the sodium hydroxide, I figured why not go ahead and do this. We need the oxygen for processing ores. And we're going to need tons of hydrogen for doing tungsten, which is going to be our next big adventure after the tantalum. So I'm going to let this run and get us our sodium. And we're going to go look at getting this potassium carbonate made. Now, this potassium carbonate that we need to make is pretty much a one-off recipe. If we look at this here, in the mixer for potassium carbonate, the only real use for this is making this potassium heptafluoride, or we can use it with nitric acid to make potassium nitrate. But we want to use potassium nitrate to make nitric acid. We don't really need to reverse that one. As far as I know, there's not a whole lot of use for potassium nitrate unless you're going to be making cryothium. And again, you get that from niter, so there really isn't a use making it, in my opinion. So this is the only use for it. And once we make this one set, we're good. So I'm just going to do these 12 in this mixer, and then it's going to get removed and recycled to do something else. We're not going to need this one again. So we're doing 12 of these. We need 500 CO2 per. 1, so that means we're going to need 6,000 CO2. Luckily, we have our electrolyzer making aluminum with 20,200 CO2 in it. So I am just going to use this small pipe, and we're going to run it over and into here for the moment. I do not have my scaffold. I need to get some more made. And we'll go up to about right there, so it's not right above my head. And we'll pull most of this. Well, we'll pull all of this back out of here. This is just to get it over here for now. I could use drums and transport it that way, but honestly, I don't have any made right now. I don't think. I think they're all used. So that'll take care of that. Now we just need to hook this up. And this is going to output water. So let's go ahead and just run this line right on down here, because we're going to need it for every one of these. And I will end up connecting this to that line eventually. Let's get rid of this one, because some of these other ones I think are going to put out water as well. So I'm going to run this over here, and we can go ahead and connect that up. We don't need a ton in there. And there we go. There is our potassium carbonate. And I need to hook that up, the output of this one, since it's outputting water. I'm going to run it for right now. You know what? Here, just hold that. We're going to run this over here. You cannot go there. We're going to have to go up and over that, because we need to be able to get gas in there. Alright, so up and over. And then we're going to come to here. And that will automatically output our water, so we can do any more that needs to be done. Not quite sure why that's not going. Oh, missed the pipe. There we go. So water's all evacuated, and machine will be turned off. There we go. And I did find something the other day that's kind of useful for this. If you take one of these and you stick it on here, and then you grab your drum. If it had any in it, which you can check, it should pull it back out. Now, right now, it can't do so because it's trying to pull out the CO2 that is in there. Because the CO2 is blocked because I never broke the floor. That is actually what turned this one off. But we happen to have a CO2 drum right here. No, that's not the CO2 drum. It's a water drum I need to get outside. Now, this one is a natural gas drum. Why do I have a natural gas drum? This one, third time's the charm, is a CO2 drum. So if I take this, I can put it underneath it, or if I can get it without getting mobbed by every mob on the beach, nope, it's not there. There should have been a gas nozzle I was going to try to suck it out, but we can just evacuate that out the bottom, which if we can do that, and then we can take our ethanol, suck that out, so now it will shut off immediately because it's empty. There was plenty in there to run. Alright, so we can put that back there now, and I can pop this off for the moment. I gotta figure out where I put that gas one. Alright, we can take this back out of here, and now we have a little bit more CO2, which, actually, we are going to get rid of this mixer, basically. So we're going to put this back on here. We're going to close this pipe off. And the pipe is empty, so I would pull this all back out of there. I'm going to go ahead and do this, which except for the fact that it's gas, you big dummy. I need to go get the gas nozzle. I gotta figure out where I put it. I was keeping them out there on that tank. So, give me a minute. I need to find this gas nozzle. Be right back. Alright, I finally found the gas nozzle. It was on the wall in the other building. So, we need to get this 15 CO2 out of here. So, bloop. We have nothing left in here. And I can go ahead and now put this up here to be ran through all of the rest of the CO2. We will be putting a tank in for CO2 so we can start capturing it from all of our diesel engines, so we have a supply of carbon other than using coal coke like what we have been right now, because we will need actual carbon at some point, and that will be how we get it. Plus it'll give us tons of oxygen for us to do all of our sulfite stuff. So eventually we will do that. Alright, so that's still got some in there, and it does actually need to be set to will fill. Okay. So now this one is now not needed anymore. We can take this out when we're done. But that gives us this box out of here, R12 potassium carbonate. And our potassium carbonate now needs to go into a bath of hydrogen fluoride. Well, we're not going to use a mixer for that as well, because again, this is not something we're ever going to need again. So we're just going to dump this. Wait a minute, this is the one we don't. Yeah, because this is going to give us our 8 of these, which goes into that, and then that is going to give us, correct. Okay, had to make sure. Alright, so now we're going to throw this into this one that is not hooked to anything but does have hydrogen fluoride in it. And we should still have a bit of fuel. Nope, we sure don't. So let's give it a bit of fuel. There we go. We'll turn that back off. And this one will take just a little bit to get done. Put my box there to catch it. And I should be able to show you what I was trying to show you last time on this one when it gets done and it figures I put the box on the wrong side. But that gives us our 8 right there and has given us CO2 out. which we need to get the CO2 now out of there. So we're going to put it in the tank up there. And I didn't get here. Oh, yeah, I did. So now we stick this on here, and we go bloop. And now that will pull the rest of that out of there, so it doesn't sit there and run for the next few minutes getting what was left in there out. So let's get rid of this box, which means I need to grab this tank again, because basically we're just trading the CO2 for fluoride. So we need to put this, which is going to now be, should be CO2 back here. There's nothing else in there that can go into our tank because our tank already has CO2 in it. So we can just throw it right there. And there we go. And there should be no CO2 up here because we have filtered that. So that is all of our CO2 out of that. So now we have our potassium fluoride, which if we go back to our Tantalite, because I like to use that as my reference point here. So Tantalite, we have our tantalum pentoxide. Now we need to put our tantalum pentoxide and this 8 potassium fluoride in a mixer with hydrogen fluoride. So this is where we're actually going to hook up one of our mixers here. So this first mixer here, we're going to hook up, and it's going to be very similar to how the rest of these are, where it's going to have a water output, and it's going to have the pipe coming along that is filling this one right here. So this is our hydrogen fluoride pipe that comes from our hydrogen fluoride tank outside, which we are currently out of because I need to put some more fluorides in here, which I will do because these things hold 7342. I can't remember what it is they actually hold, but it's a enormous amount. So most of what we already have is stuck in those two right there. So I'm going to run the pipe over and have it go into this one. So this is going to take our tantalum pentoxide and our potassium fluoride. We just have to connect that up. So give me just a minute. I will get all the piping done and we'll be right back. Okay, I kind of lied. We're back quicker than what I thought we were going to be because I don't remember if I showed you this. We got this done during the live stream a couple days ago. I had showed you the beginning of it, but we have actually gotten all of our fluorides in here, along with our blue phosphorus and our gloomstone is finally in this filter, all but these two larger things of green fluoride because I didn't have them available. But we have the whole rainbow of fluorides in here. So when we set up this wall with all of our stuff, the actual fluorides are now compacted down to this one barrel. And this one barrel is actually going to go over there because we have no reason for it to be on this wall. The only reason why it isn't over there yet is because of piping it over. I just left it here. So what I'm going to do right now is just manually take all of this over there and set it up with its own barrel over there that I have in my backpack here. So this was our input. We're going to knock that out of there. Try not to touch that pipe. It's hot. Alright, so we're going to put that there. And we can use these wood barrels because we have nothing that is heat-based in this room. And now that will automatically feed our fluorite into there and make us our hydrogen fluoride. So now back to piping. Be with you in a minute. Alright, we are back. And I went ahead and shut off both of these so that we could actually get our hydrogen fluoride over here. And I connected up our water pipe down here because if you remember from so long ago, a few minutes, a couple seconds for you, the only thing we're going to have come out of here liquid-wise is water, so we do not need any filters on there. So that's just hooked up directly, and our output for this is going to be our potassium heptafluorotantalate. And now that needs to go into a bath with molten sodium. Now this one here is going to be a bit different. This is where we need that sodium that we made before. And the only way to get this molten sodium currently is with a crucible. So we've got to go cook that down. And the temperature of that is only 370K. So this is going to be very quick to melt. If we look at the actual sodium, it melts at 370, boils at 1156. So it's going to be quite a decent gap there. We don't have to worry about it exploding on us, hopefully boiling out. The weight is 1.498 kilograms. Actually don't use that weight system that much, so let's go look at, okay, 107 kilograms for an entire dust. So we're going to have to do that, but we need to get this into our bath over here. So this is going to be our output, and from this, the only output it has is the potassium heptafluorotantalate. And in the bath, we're going to get tantalum, sodium, and potassium fluoride out. The potassium fluoride needs to get put right back into here. And the sodium fluoride, we need to run through our electrolyzer behind here to get our sodium back. And then fluorine, which we're going to be sending off to be turned back into hydrogen fluoride with hydrogen. So, if that's the case, then we should be able to, where is my wrench? We should just be able to put this right here. That is our output. So we can put an output chest here, which will catch all of the things. And then we're going to set up a filter. We're going to move this one for right now. Actually, no. We're not going to do the chest, because if we do the chest, then we have to have something to pull out of the chest. We're actually going to use one of our ultimate item pipes, because it can hold 16 stacks. Well, actually, we don't even need it to hold all 16, or all the things that come out, because everything's going to have a destination. So we can actually use one of our brass ones. Although I may go and make a large brass one. If we make a large one, it can move 2 things a second. And I think that might be a little bit better for this. We also have some black bronze left. Maybe I'll use one of those. I'm still kind of working through my thoughts of how I exactly want to do this, but it should be, we only have 3 things that have to come out. This can go into a chest for us to use later. So we'll say this chest here, and we'll put a filter here that'll tell it only the Tantalum will go in there. And then we'll need a pipe running off of here that is going to run back to here. So we can just come along the backside here. And that'll loop the potassium fluoride back into here where we need it. And then the other thing needs to go into this one. So if we do this, that's actually the output. So we need to turn this the opposite direction. And then that should be, well, that shows both of those are outputting. So input goes to the top, doesn't it? Forgot about that. All right, so let's do this. And we can have this come over and go into there. And then this will process that sodium down. I'll have to get another pipe for that. All right, so I need to go make 2 filters. Technically, I'll probably make 3 of them. I'll put one here to make sure it can only put the potassium fluoride in. Is there a recipe for... let's go look here. Sodium fluoride does not have a mixer recipe, so we don't have to worry about that going in there. And Tantalum should not have a mixer recipe, which it doesn't, so we will not need a filter here. The only thing coming out of here that can go into here is the potassium fluoride. And actually, the only thing we need is for the chest for the Tantalum, and we could technically get away with that by just moving this chest to where it is the last output, the last possible output. All right, give me a second. Let me go get us about 3 more pipes, and we should be able to get this just about done. All right, so I just went over to the other building there and grabbed some of our black bronze pipes and some more brass ones. Just switched them out with the ultimates that I had in my bag there. So let's go ahead and fill these 2 holes back in. And I may change this out still to be the large black bronze, because those actually do 4, which is kind of what we want. But we're going to just go with this one for the moment. Alright, so now we connect that there. And then we're going to use a brass one. And it's going to come over here and we'll put this here. So this is the very last step. So the only thing that we should get in there is our Tantalum. So now we should have everything set except for getting our molten sodium over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, once we actually get to a smelter, which is what we're doing this for, is to get to a tungsten smelter, or tungsten for a smelter, then we can actually put a smelter over there that will turn the sodium we get out back into molten sodium and put it right back into the system. But for right now, we need to take this, throw it in here, and I need a actually I kind of want a drum for this, because this is going to be a decent amount. So let me make another Invar drum to transport this real quick. So give me just a minute. Okay, nice new fresh drum. Make sure I've got the right one in my hand. Alright, so now we can turn this on. And this is our really slow crucible. But that is still rather fast. Alright, so we now have 144 liters of molten sodium. Let's take this on over here. And we'll put this right on top of our bath and set it to output. So there is our molten sodium, 10 units of it. And in the bath, we need 5 units for each process. So if we go ahead and start this up, which I might as well go ahead and run this one over that way, because we're going to need that in just a minute. Hook this up. There we go. Now this is a really slow process. It's like 578 ticks or something like that. So it's going to take a minute for it to work through there. There we go. It is done. The water's going out. The potassium heptafluoride is in here. It's already started. And there's really no use turning this off because there's really no use turning it off because it's going to have to do 2 of these, which is like 512 ticks to get this done. There we go. So we should end up with the potassium in there. No, apparently we can electrolyze it. I didn't think about that part. Our Tantalum did end up in there. Alright, so we are going to need a filter to make sure that the potassium fluoride doesn't go over there. Alright, so let me go ahead and turn this off. And we'll grab our thing here. And we need the ethanol. turn that off. There we go. And now I'm going to go grab a filter, and we'll put a filter up here that'll make sure that it can't go up there, which means that we're possibly going to need 2 of them unless I use a restrictor pipe here. Or we move this one to over here. We can't put it there because then it would be a 1 block. So yeah, I'm going to go make 2 item filters. I don't think I have any in my bag. Nope. Okay. I'm going to go make 2 item filters. I'll be right back with you. Alright, got my filters. So let's go ahead and put 1 right here. And 1 right here. And we want to set both of these for our potassium fluoride. But then we want to take and make them blacklist. So screwdriver that, and that will tell both of those that the potassium fluoride cannot go in there. So now we can turn this back on, and we should see our potassium fluoride come back in here, and once we get our sodium to go back in there. So this brings us to our last step over here, which is the sodium fluoride. So the sodium fluoride in an electrolyzer, we need a selector tag of 0, and it'll give us sodium and fluorine. And our fluorine, which we also get from aluminum, we can put into a mixer with hydrogen, and that will be making us hydrogen fluoride. So normally with the aluminum process, we wouldn't be doing this for quite a while because it doesn't make a whole lot of fluorine really quickly. But because of how much this is actually going to be making, we're going to go ahead and take this other one that we have here, and I will set that up to make our fluoride back into hydrogen fluoride with some of our hydrogen we have out here. But that's going to be a project for another day because of, well, how long we've already been here setting this one up. So let me go and get a selector tag. I need to make 2 of these now. Somebody remind me. Not that one. That one. I need to quit stealing these things. But I always forget to make them when I'm making everything else. Alright. So we pop that in there. And we turn this on. And now that will give us our sodium, hopefully right there in that chest. This is the fluid output. That's the item output, so we should get our sodium right there. And our fluorine will come out on this side. There is our sodium. And this is going to be a bit of a process. So eventually this will all be automated. We'll have a way of turning this on and off so it's not wasting our fuel. And it's going to have to wait for this to get done running to give us our sodium back. And then we can take our sodium, go melt it back down, and bring it back over. I'm going to wait for this to get done so I can go melt it one more time so we can actually see this automate properly, and then we will be done for today. Alright, so we are back with our 10 units of molten sodium. Throw that on there, let it run this, and when it gets done, we should have 2 more tantalum up here, which grab that so we can finish that quest. And as soon as this gets done, we should see our potassium fluoride in here, our sodium fluoride up there, and our extra tantalum up there. Alright, so there's our potassium fluoride. There is our sodium fluoride. It works. And I went ahead and set this here so we could do the fluoride thing, and I've changed my mind. I'm going to move it because we're going to need the smelter here once we get it to do the sodium. So we're going to move this probably over next to our electrolyzer for aluminum. But that gives us our first tantalum. Now, I just need to do this 3 more times, 4 more times, and get 12 of them, which I will not bother with making you guys watch me do this again 4 more times. And then we will be able to get our crucible upgrade done finally from our ceramic going all the way up to tantalum so we can smelt tungsten. And once we can do that, then we can actually automate in the sodium part of this, and we can start on our circuits. There's other things that we're going to do with circuits too, but and you can do circuits without a smelter. I just really prefer having one. But I think our next project is going to be getting a distillation tower done. That way we can actually get other gases to, or other fuels to run through here rather than just relying on ethanol and having to do this move the drum thing around. We can actually just pipe it through here. So I think we're going to take a step back, work on getting our distillation tower next. Then we'll go into getting our crucible upgraded and getting tungsten processing done. We may flip those 2 around. That way we can do the full upgrade from meteoric steel to tungsten all in one time. I will decide that and let you guys know then. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Show a brother some love. Hit the buttons. Do the things. Thanks to everybody that continues to support this series by watching it, liking it, all that fun crap, and our channel members, our Twitch supporters, and our patrons. It is a great motivation that you guys are still 8 years into me doing this, still watching, still enjoying, and I'm very grateful just for you watching, but I also appreciate the support where it comes from. Have a good one. Take it easy, and I will see you next time.